Hello, folks. Top of the day greetings from me, John Akuro, and you're welcome to the JMA Connection this 11th day of November 2025. This is a very special day. For me, really, it's a very special day. Special, first, because it is a World Armistice Day, and it's called actually the Global Day of Peace. Global Day of Peace. And this peace that is epitomized on this day is not peace that was imposed on people. It's peace that came through justice. It's peace that came from, negotiation tables. It's peace that came from, giving and taking. We know what happened in 2000 and oh no, not 2018, in 1918. Okay, started from 1970 to 1918. And this day, November 11, was the day that all the belligerent powers in World War One came to the agreement that they had fought enough and it was time to settle down to ensure that justice was rendered to those who were hurt and ensure that at the end of securing justice there will be global peace. Much as that particular kind of peace that they expected did not last too long, because in 1945, I mean 1939, it got fragilized again, but the end of it in 1945 came back, was rebuilt on the foundation set on November 11, 1918. So, my dear people, there was November 11, 1917, because the entire process pushed right up into 1918. And so on November 11, too, that's the day I was born. And so today is my birthday, and I'm delighted to be on this platform today doing what I like to do best, participating in mobilizing people, participating in this very important sensitization campaign, and participating in helping our communities to be aware of exactly what is going on around us so that we will together stand up and fight, know exactly what we are fighting for. Because we'll be fighting for what we believe in. We'll be fighting for what we know to be fundamentally true. Very important. So, folks, you're welcome to this platform. And thank you for letting me take those first 2 minutes to talk about this. But right now, let's get into the crux of today's discussion. You see, apologists of the beer system were already quick to take a victory lap. They were already telling you on rooftops, oh, this thing is finished, when we were not hearing from Issa Chiruma Bakari. They were already telling you, oh no, we have won, it will be business as usual. They were already pointing to, the return of that their kind of normalcy that they've always talked about in the southern Cameroons, which returns in the morning but disappears in the afternoon. And by evening, everyone sees that we are back into a very horrific kind of conflict, or call it crisis. And so it has come to pass that Cameroon now effectively has two rulers. Nobody should pretend about this anymore, because yesterday we could have thought, yes, let's pretend about it, that Issa Chiruma Bakari has lost. Paul Biya has used the armed forces to impose himself in power and is going to continue as usual, grind the opponents of the FSNC and the groups allied under the Douala group, that became known as the Union for Change 2025, victimized their supporters here and there, terrorized people up and down, sent their forces of lawlessness and disorder to capture people at random, target people indigents from the north and those from the west, collect huge sums of money from them, plant fear, plant terror, plant confusion in their minds, and then go away with it. Hell no, that appears not to have happened. Issa Chiruma Bakari might not have taken the oath of office. He might not have sworn in just yet. Maybe he doesn't even have plans to swear in again right now because of the disruptions that happened. Because with the impulsion of the Cameroon government, for 3 good days, Issa Chiruma Bakari could not speak because the place where he was. I mean, they imposed some kind of conditions on him. Let's be clear about that. And so he could not speak, he could not make any declaration. And of course, with time comes also a change in plans. So the plans have evolved, and the focus right now appears to be on teaching Paul Biya a lesson, making Cameroon ungovernable. This is really interesting. You know, folks, we have succeeded for 9 years in making the southern Cameroons ungovernable, and it has taught Bia's government a very huge lesson that when the people have defeated death, yes, when the people have defeated death, fear no longer has a place. In the southern Cameroons, we demonstrated beyond reasonable doubt, or we have demonstrated beyond reasonable doubt for 9 years that we have defeated death. And that is why, despite all the measures they have taken, use all kinds of tactics, we have continued to resist. And now you have the people of La République du Cameroon not having to go any far to look for strategies, not having to go any far to see a wonderful example to copy. Yes, they don't have to go out of out of the sub-region to say which example can we copy, what have people done where to good effect. No, they are just next door. So they are not shy in saying it. They are not shy in getting ready to apply some of the techniques that we used in making the Biya government's life complicated. Although they cheered their forces of lawlessness and disorder, although they cheered their military to, dehumanize us, and they were very excited by saying that we will be, mold within 2 weeks. They sat back and they saw that week went, week followed, month went, month followed, year went, year followed, until we are 9 years gone, and those their forces, especially the B that they say were invincible, they saw young men like no pity, choose 16, 18 of them in one go. And they understood that the notion, the myth of invincibility around their B and some of their special forces was simply shattered. And today, they are reminding those same forces that we saw you being reduced to rubble just next door. It is not here that you will come to make a noise. And so, Issa Chiroma Bakari, when he gave the Biya system 48 hours, a 48-hour ultimatum to release prisoners of war, prisoners of conscience, all those who were captured, also within the framework of the demonstrations following the proclamation of the results of the October 12th presidential election by the Constitutional Council, he definitely knew a thing that he was counting on. Because some people said, oh, maybe he's just making this lousy noise and all of those things. I even said that Issa Chiroma Bakari, when he gave those 48 hours, he knew he's not stupid. He worked within that system for at least 20 years. Oh yes, I worked with that system too for about that same period of time. And so Issa Chiroma Bakari knows, he's not doubting that they will not buckle. But somewhere along the line, the people told themselves, while we may become difficult and not go ahead to, let anyone think that we have chickened before Issa Chiroma Bakari's ultimatum, they have an idea how lethal the northern regions could be. That's why on a visit to Yaounde in the Adamawa region, Paul Atanganji ordered the release of some 60 youth who were arrested within the framework of, those protests. But quickly they had to do public relations around it, not to give the impression that was because of Issa Chiroma Bakari's ultimatum, by saying those 60 people who were released are people whose parents had come and apologized to the public authorities and promised on their behalf that they will never take part in any demonstrations anymore. Before that, there were always some pockets too released somewhere. Even if there were just 3 or 4 people released after that ultimatum, it is remarkable. But by and large, Issa Chiroma Bakari is aware that they were not going to respect it. And so what is going to come next when they don't? This is where it becomes very important. My dear people, listen, this is a very critical moment, very critical, because the expiration of those 48 hours coincides with demonstrations that have already been called to begin everywhere on the territory of the Republic of Cameroon tomorrow, the 12th of November, Wednesday. Whether the demonstrations effectively take off or not, there is already another call indicating that this will be just a kicker, because going forward they are going to be demonstrating every day, Monday through Thursday, all over the territory, Monday through Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday will be reserved for people to restock their homes and prepare for a restart the following Monday. This should be sounding very familiar, right? This should be a clear indication that that so-called peace they were claiming is no more. This is something that you should bear in mind fundamentally. But the people are not shy. The people are not stupid to think that they will just announce demonstrations and that the government of Paul Biya will sit back and watch them do. So they know that Paul Biya will fill all the streets with soldiers, with gendarmes, with police, with special forces, with everybody, with tankers. And so therefore, to embolden their people to know that they will have the support that they need to go out there and demonstrate, the people have taken another measure. That other measure that they have taken is already putting in place in every village community, as they have announced themselves. And I will come back here later on in the day with an audio that you should be listening to right now, so that together we make greater sense of that audio of the gentleman who is giving clear guidelines on how the national force for self-defense that they have created, that they have already created. He says they've already created. So when we were talking about it, initially we would have thought that they were still mooting this as an idea. But no, it's no longer just an idea. They moved from idea to action. So they say they have already created in almost every subdivision, almost every subdivision, and and also at divisional level. And so they say that this national force for self-defense will have the arduous task of helping the people to defend themselves against Mr. Paul Biya's army, which is known for its serious excesses, which means therefore that if the soldiers shoot on someone, they should expect that someone too will shoot on them. This is clear. I don't want us to put it in another way. It's clear. Now they're talking about self-defense. What have we been doing in the Southern Cameroons all these years? Self-defense. They refer to us as terrorists. So Paul Biya is about now to have his own people, and he will refer to as terrorists. The number of Paul Biya's imaginary terrorists, oh gosh, is about to grow exponentially. I mean exponentially. And this is very important. And these people make one other very, very significant revelation. That significant revelation is that while they are preparing these committees for self-defense, in their case, some of the committees, some of the committee members in most places will actually be trained soldiers. Oh yes, will actually be trained soldiers, trained gendarmes, trained policemen. This should frighten everyone, right? It should really frighten you. If you think that the days ahead in the Republic of Cameroon are going to be that peaceful, like they keep making noise about, you definitely should be going back to the drawing board. So they are telling you that they already have people in the villages, in the towns, and in the cities who have constituted themselves into self-defense forces, and that they are armed and ready to protect the people against the excesses of Mr. Paul Biya's militia. This is in the Republic of Cameroon. This is not Southern Cameroons. And in that discussion, they make another very important revelation, which hinges on something that Issa Chiroma Bakari said in his 4-minute declaration. That 4-minute declaration, because the English version is 4 minutes, that 4-minute declaration, I will find time to come back to it so that we take time to analyze, word after word, because you need to have a good understanding of that declaration. It's 4 minutes, but it's full, really loaded. Loaded. And if you hear it very well, you take your time and understand it very well and deconstruct every single aspect he raises inside there, you will understand where we are headed right now. And so in this audio that this gentleman is talking about, the putting in place of these groups of self-defense, self-defense individuals, he says that in the regular army currently, the system is making sure that the majority of those who carry arms, that are well loaded, that have enough ammunition to be able to do anything, I mean enough ammunition, who have enough bullets, let me call it that way, who have enough bullets, who can fire, who can shoot, who can shoot, who can shoot, and who can shoot, and who can shoot for long, are people from the Bulu Ekan Beti tribe. I am not the one saying it. That's what they are saying it. And he justifies this by saying people, soldiers in most of the military camps across the entire country, at least at 60%, voted for Issa Chiroma Bakari. Yes, these people voted for Issa Chiroma Bakari. And because these people voted for Issa Chiroma Bakari, at 60%, the government now knows that the army is divided. And because they now know that the army is divided and not totally united behind Mr. Paul Biya, they now have to, within this same army that has sustained Paul Biya in power for these 43 years, pick out loyalists, treat them differently, and then pick soldiers or members of the armed forces from the other ethnic groups of the country who are not Bulu Ekang are treated differently. You will recall that during the inaugural ceremony, or the ceremony where Paul Biya took his oath of office, they clearly passed a measure. Soldiers were not allowed to carry loaded weapons. Oh yes, most of the soldiers who were there, their guns were not loaded. They were not. They could not shoot. They had nothing that they could use. This tells you already the fright that the system has. This tells you already that the system itself has become extremely impetuous right now. This tells you that the system is nearing a collapse. They have a serious confidence crisis. And where you have a serious confidence crisis, nobody sleeps with both eyes. Everyone is looking at the other and wondering whether is this one the real enemy or the real enemy is somewhere else. And so therefore, the army is sorely divided. And because the soldiers from the other ethnic groups that are not Bulu Ekang are seeing this, are understanding this, and noticing that there are strategic security meetings being held now, and people who are allowed to participate in those strategic security meetings appear to be, most of it, at least 90 to 95%, only indigenes from the Bulu Ekang ethnic group, and very few from the other ethnic groups. They now see that the army is now in two separate worlds. In two separate worlds. They now understand that they too at any time can be fed to the dogs. Their meat too can be fed to the dogs at any time if they suspect that they are not loyal. Now, take a look at something that happened. This young police officer of southern Cameroon's origins in Yaounde, that's in the Adamawa, who simply came out to congratulate Issa Chiroma Bakari on his wonderful performance at the presidential election on October 12th, was captured and is under detention where no one knows. But there is a superintendent of police in Yaounde. In my next broadcast, when I'll be in the studio, I will display his pictures. You see him dressed in CPDM regalia, and you also see him dressed in his police uniform with his beautiful 4 stars shining right there. Nothing happened to him, but the forces are supposed to be neutral. That one deserves encouragement, deserves congratulations. But our brother, for merely he did not wear a face cap of Issa Chiroma Bakari or FSNC. He did not wear any party regalia. He only said, "Oh wow, Issa Chiroma, congratulations on your wonderful performance at the presidential election." He is under detention. Listen, folks, this tells you of exactly the kind of times that we are living in. And so, this is what he says. This is what they are saying. That the National Committee for Power to the Cameroonian People, CNPP, this is another committee that they put in place to reinforce the self-defense groups that they have put up. And they have this communique that came out, Garoua 10 November 2025. They say, final war plan for our final victory against the dictatorship of Paul Biya. And they say, following the success of last week's peaceful marches and introductory general strikes, the time has finally come for us to activate phase 3 of our war plan. General strikes will now be held every Monday through Thursday throughout the entire national territory, starting Monday, beginning to next Monday. So besides the demonstrations that have been slated for this Wednesday, the 12th of November, they are going to pick up from Monday. And at their final what date that Monday will be, that will be on the 17th of November. So this tells you that it is really not going to be business as usual in La République du Cameroun. And I will interject here to my people of Ambazonia, my people of the southern Cameroons, who are still in the territory of La République du Cameroon, go back home. Some of you had gone back home, and then you saw the seeming return to normalcy to be a signal for you to jump back in the buses and hurry back to La République du Cameroon. I had said, be careful, be watchful. Revolutions always occur when conditions appear to be getting better. Very important to know. And they say each local committee must take steps to implement this on the ground as a matter of urgency. Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays will be reserved for resupply. Gather strategic information on all those who violate these general strikes and punish them during the resupply days. So you're understanding that it is not now a matter of I have decided I will go and join the demonstrations and all of those things, or I have decided that I don't want to be part of it. I just want to stand on the fence and I'm watching. They are telling you that you like it or not, you will participate. If you are not participating, you are against the demonstrations and they will come for you. So what they are saying here is they are going to be acting the same way the BIA system has been acting. The BIA system's dictum is that you are either with us or you are against us. There is no middle way. That is what these people too are now saying. You are either with them or you are with BIA. No middle way. So there is no place for you to escape. They say the central and southern regions are under total embargo for failing to comply with the initial directives. Products and services from other regions of the country will no longer be allowed to enter the central and southern regions. This is the economic blockade. And they say Cameroonians in the diaspora are called upon to create and oversee local committees of power to the Cameroonian people in their respective localities, as our Anglophone brothers and sisters are doing so effectively. Of course, I said they are not going too far to look for an example to copy. They are not going too far to ask, how do we carry this on? No, they have a place. Next door, just next door. All representatives of the dictatorship in your localities must be neutralized. Again, I'm reading a dispatch that is circulating on social media. On this platform, I don't encourage violence. I say immediately after the swearing in of our president, Issa Chiroma, the Cameroonian People's Army will mobilize to retake Yaounde. And they say we demand that President Issa Chiroma Bakari cease all negotiations with the Biya regime. We are confident of our ultimate victory. This week is also reserved for the funerals of all the combatants who fell during the first phase. Whistleblowers and local leaders are urged to disseminate this plan as a matter of urgency. And the gentleman who is taking responsibility for sending this out calls himself General Abdullahi. Now, how do you know that there is something really eating deep into the fabric of the BIA system? How do you know that the panic button has been pressed by the BIA system in Yaounde? How do you know? that they themselves are engulfed now with fear, doubt, frustration, and confusion. The signs are clear. The signs are visible for everyone to see. Now, Ferdinand Gongo, who for the longest time has been opposed to any form of genuine dialogue with the people of the southern Cameroons, he's now sending emissaries. Have you heard that? He's now sending emissaries. Oh, yes. Of course, I checked and confirmed that he has sent at least emissaries to Nkondengi on at least 2 counts to meet our people and to talk with them. They did not get a very good reception. Right now, I also have it on good authority that they are dispatching delegations to the diaspora. The same Ferdinand Gongo, who said we are only good to be captured, who said that we, the people of the southern Cameroons, are not human enough for him to talk to, that we, the people of the southern Cameroons, are only good to be treated as subhumans, as slaves, are only good to be looked up, to be, treated as a captured people. Today, Ferdinand Gongo is dispatching delegations to the diaspora to come talk to us. Oh, like seriously. And you know the greatest of all jokes? The greatest of all jokes is that some of the members of those delegations, I have been informed, are actually indigenes of the southern Cameroons, whose hands are soiled with blood of the ongoing genocide in our land. When they called the name of a certain Gerald Ngala, an impostor moving around and calling himself member of parliament. I don't know who elected him, because the people of the southern Cameroons from 2018 we make clear we are not taking part in any elections organized by the Republic of Cameroon on our territory. We are not sending anybody into any parliament, to any institution in Yaounde, because those moronic institutions never ever found time, even for 30 seconds, to address the ongoing genocide, the massive killing, the scorched earth policy being implemented on our territory. And you pick somebody like Ngala Gerard, whose hands are stained seriously with the blood of the school children, the pregnant woman, and the vulnerable old people in Gabu. Make no mistake, Ngala Gerard's Fulani militia masterminded and cooperated with Mr. Paul Biya's terrorist forces to burn our people alive on Valentine's Day in Gabu. Ngala Gerard. I'm not saying any other person. And I'm putting my face here to say it. And Gerard knows this. And so someone whose hands are seriously stained with the blood of our people will come to sit down to talk with Bakuru and others that is coming to talk to us about peace in the southern Cameroons. Let me be clear here. Anyone in the diaspora, you call yourself an activist for justice, an activist for the freedom of the people of the southern Cameroons. You say you are a genuine fighter for the cause of freedom of the people of the southern Cameroons. You sit down even for 30 seconds and you are exchanging with someone like Ngala Gerard about our cause. What you are doing, you are simply opening your palms too, that you should sprinkle some of the blood tapped from our people who were roasted like game in Gabu on the 14th of February. This is what it is. And I like our people to know. So as I was saying, so when you find Ferdinand Gongo suddenly panicking, sending people around, go talk to these people, it is because he knows that a much stronger front is about to open. A new one. Do they have resources enough to fight a war on several fronts? That is what they themselves are not sure about. Because why? I have learned that they themselves are asserting that between 10 and 15,000 soldiers in the army of the Republic of Cameroon currently are literally paying allegiance to Issa Chiroma Bakari. That reduces the number of their forces. They don't have over 51,000. All the forces put together, police, gendarmes, JPing, JPAC, presidential guards, special forces, everything. They don't have beyond 51,000. And so Ferdinand Gongo Atanga Ponji and others are now coming to terms with the reality that they may be forced to withdraw forces from the southern Cameroons because they have even started doing so. You can see for yourself that in the past 10 days, La République du Cameroon has lost over 15 soldiers already in the southern Cameroons because they are withdrawing people, and so the freedom fighters down there know the withdrawal routes and have been targeting them and clearing some and collecting weapons. And they know this trend is going to continue. And it will get to a point where all those so-called DOs, SDOs, those colonial DOs, SDOs, and all whatnot, in the various local government areas and counties will no longer be able to stay there because they will not have forces enough to keep them. And what will happen? Your guess is as good as mine. I don't even need to pronounce it. It is clear. And so Ferdinand Gongo is now telling himself, maybe they need to make some form of appeasement with the people of the southern Cameroons. Send us to sleep so they gain time to concentrate all their forces to fight Issa Chiruma Bakari and the insurrection coming from the north. Poor Ferdinand. Ferdinand Gongo was the initiator of the scam in Switzerland. He was the initiator of that scam in Switzerland. And he actually used it for what it was. That's why the Cameroon government never ever sent a single representative at no point to Switzerland. Ferdinand Gongo toppled the pre-talks in Canada. Because there in Canada, the people, the government of the Republic of Cameroon was represented. They took part in the talks and signed an agreement. Basically, the agreement that we came to in Canada was on confidence building measures. And we were hoping that after that one, that will mean therefore that we will move to the next phase, which will mean setting up a calendar for clear mediated talks around the root causes of the ongoing genocidal conflict in the southern Cameroons. But at that wee moment, when the agreement had been signed to, and I'm using this opportunity to urge the Canadian government to see that it is time to publish that document that was signed by both sides. And that document was clear, the way it was titled. On the one hand, the government of the Republic of Cameroon, represented by by people from the Prime Minister's office, and the people of the southern Cameroons, represented by representatives of four of our organizations, groups, and the movements fighting for the liberation of our land. It is the way that document was titled that frightened Ferdinand Gongo and his gang. And they said if that document went out, it will be telling the world clearly that they now recognize that the conflict is between the government of Cameroon and between the Republic of Cameroon and the people of the southern Cameroons. That is what caused them to backtrack very fast and start claiming that they never had any conversation, they were not part of anything anywhere. Folks, I'm afraid I have some little dry throat, that's why I keep drinking. And so therefore, where we stand now, Ferdinand Gongo understands that they are going to be fighting battles on several fronts at the same time. Don't forget, Boko Haram has not gone. Boko Haram is still there. So now they will have the northern front. And then not even just the northern front. They have now people even within their ranks resisting them. How are they going to cope with this? This is a serious question. And Gongo thinks money buys everything. He can use money to buy us to stay silent, to relax, while he finishes on the other side, comes back with renewed force to crush us. Oh my goodness. I don't know who is advising him. I don't know who is advising them. But I like to make this clear. All those southern Cameroonians who are members of that evil CPDM or La République du Cameroon national ethnic group that have been participating actively in overseeing the genocide on their own people will never be received by us again. So Ferdinand Gongo, if you want to engage any talks with us, you know what to do. We have made clear that this situation will only be settled around an internationally mediated table. The peace talks will be internationally mediated. And at that time, we will need guarantors who will ensure that the agreements that we enter into will be respected and implemented. This much has to be very clear in Ferdinand Gongo's head. Because if somebody loses sight of this, then you may get a bit mixed up. And I want to tell Ferdinand Gongo, I know that you're frightened because you think that the people of the Southern Cameroon now have a penchant towards Issa Chiroma Bakari. The reason is simple. Because Issa Chiroma Bakari made a charm offensive in the Southern Cameroons. Oh yes, he apologized, he now recognized there's a problem, and Issa Chiroma Bakari made very interesting public declaration. First, among those declarations, he said, I will begin by releasing all the prisoners of war and the prisoners of conscience. He did not say that it will be conditional. He said, I will begin by releasing it. That is a confidence building measure. And he said, and afterward, we shall sit around a table to address the root causes of the ongoing conflict. Issa Chiroma Bakari made that promise in public. Now, some of the people of the Southern Cameroons who have been saying, no, let's see that Issa Chiroma Bakari sits down and we work with him, is because they heard these promises. It's because they heard Issa Chiroma Bakari make these declarations. They read his body language. They looked at him, even the way in another interview in French, where he said, okay, je veux parler de la situation au Southern Cameroons. Oh, sometimes he has actually even referred to us as Southern Cameroons. He has even referred to us sometimes as Ambazonians. Exactly what Gongo and his clan have never done. Ferdinand Gongo. There were times that La République du Cameroon said they could not talk with the people of the Southern Cameroons because they don't know who to talk to. The people are so divided because you spent a lot of money creating division in our ranks for your purpose. Today, we can say the same thing very much. There are now two presidents, in Cameroon. One is enjoying legitimacy. The other has some form of legality. But these two components have to be in one individual, for that individual to be a real plenipotentiary. So who are we going to be talking to? And now to help you, Mr. Ferdinand Gongo and Madame Chantal Biya, who are now the real rulers of that country. To help you, I want to say this. While Issa Chiroma Bakari enjoys legitimacy, he does not currently have the power to set our prisoners of conscience and our prisoners of war free. You still enjoy legality. You have the power and the ability to set our prisoners of war and prisoners of conscience free. If you want the people of the Southern Cameroons to even start thinking that we can listen to you, that we can receive any stupid delegation you are sending abroad to come talk to us, do the needful. Inspire confidence in us. Begin by releasing all our prisoners of conscience and our prisoners of war. All of them, unilaterally. Then we will say, oh yeah, these people is like they seriously have recognized that they have been wrong all this while. They want to talk. Then we'll start considering, maybe we'll decide to say, no, we'll have decided that we will recognize but the government of Paul Biya, and we'll come to talk with you. You still have that weapon in your hands. You can use it if you care. But if you don't, no problem. We are not in a haste. We have been fighting for 9 years. And we are conscious that it will take us some years more. We are ready. We have been fighting. We have been resisting. We are not tired. Sometimes people have thought that the people of the Southern Cameroons are facing burnout. No, we are not. Some people go rest and come back to the fold. And so, time is running out on you. So this is something that our people need to know. Yesterday they said we do not have the cards. Today they can see on both sides that we have the cards. We have the cards. Yes, we now have the cards. And we will make sure that we do the needful. So I am sending this message therefore too to Ferdinand Gongo. Take the first confidence building measure unilaterally. Set those people free. And we'll say, okay, maybe you are ready for talks now. And we will pick it up from there. We will begin from there. We will begin to see exactly how far we go. Otherwise, we still have the promise from Issa Chiroma Bakari. I will be watching very closely what he is doing. how close he's coming to be in that position where he can make good of his promises. My dear people, a lot is going on. La République du Cameroon is extremely confused. And so therefore, there are going to be a lot of impetuous decisions. If you have money in the banks, hurry to the bank, collect your money. Take it somewhere else. The best places to keep your money perhaps now could even be the credit unions. Credit unions. But you may also be weary of some of those that are under Kamkul because of Musa Shameful. Musa Shameful sits with us, but he is not with us. He has become a president of Kamkul forever because of the CPDM gang, because they moved him into that national ethnic group of eaters, of looters. And so therefore, the Kamkul network, you people should watch out seriously, lousy instructions that can come for money to be moved out for this reason or the other. Because those members of the crime syndicate had fought for a long time to see how to cripple our people, because they always told themselves that crippling our people will make sure we will not be lethal enough to overcome them. So you have money in the banks carelessly, start taking serious measures with your money. Always make sure you stock your home. Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians in La République du Cameroon, please hurry home. I will be back here later today for us to take a very clear listen to that audio talking about the creation of self-defense groups which are armed in the towns and cities, even with villages of La République du Cameroon, to promote the public demonstrations that they are beginning and to make sure they make the country ungovernable for Paul Biya. Before I go, I have this word again to Southern Cameroonian sons and daughters that are members of the armed forces of the Republic of Cameroon. You are hearing, you are seeing, you are understanding what is going on. Now, how will you choose to die? Die protecting a system that has never recognized you? I'm sure that among those who will not be having enough ammunition, you will be counted. Which means if you go out there with your colleagues from the Bulu Beti tribe to confront the people, and self-defense fighters emerge and are answering fire with fire, you will run out of ammunition, while your colleagues from the Bulu Beti tribe will have enough ammunition to defend themselves. I know what's going to happen to you. When you quickly run out of ammunition, right, you become dead meat. Why will you die foolishly and stupidly? I've said it and I'm repeating. It is time for you all to begin talking to yourselves. Let the reasonable ones among you begin communicating among yourselves and telling yourselves the fundamental truth that perhaps it is time to run back home and answer the ultimate call, the call to defend homeland, to do the needful at the time when everyone is seeing clearly the direction that Biya's evil triangle is taking. Don't wait until you become a casualty for a useless cause. If you ever read Albert Camus' book, L'Étranger, that's a novel that I read when I was in high school. When I was in high school. Albert Camus, that's the name of the author, and the title of the book was L'Étranger. And you see the setting is in Algeria. And Mersault, who is the main character, commits an offense. And he's found guilty because he killed an Arab. And in the end, they tell him that they sentence him to death, and they say he will be hung in the public place in the name of the French Republic. Mersault is not worried that he will be hung. He's not worried that he's about to die by hanging. But what he does not understand is, why will he die by hanging for committing an offense on an Algerian, but he will die by hanging in the name of the French Republic and not in the name of his own country, Algeria? So for a lot of you, You are going to allow yourselves to be slaughtered, to be killed in the name of the French Republic. Because that is what it is. And not for motherland, not for fatherland. Haven't you done this enough? Haven't you been stupid enough? You heard your counterparts of La République du Cameroon. Commissaire Divisionnaire Ebene has never minced his words. When he refers to you, the members of the Cameroon Armed Forces from the southern Cameroons, as idiots, as fools at 40, who participate very quickly in killing your own people. Yet, he's not the only one. The Northerners have been referring to you two as Anglophiles and saying they cannot participate in killing their own people like the Anglophiles in the military were doing. When will you wake up from your slumber and decide to be real men and women of valor? Later in the day, we are going to have a much more interesting conversation. Make sure you subscribe to this channel if you are not yet subscribed. Make sure you share the link to this communication so that as many people as possible watch this and be ready and be available to, hear what we'll be talking about much later in the day. And of course, always try to personalize so that each time there's something new on this platform, you will receive the alert. Until we meet again, therefore, in the course of the day, thank you so much for your kind attention.